Apple and HTC have just settled their patent infringement issues. What did you think about this news? What does it mean for Samsung? What does it mean for Apple?
I think a lot of this is noise. I mean, I know it's important from a product point of view. I do think, though, that there are going to be clear cases where Apple wins and Samsung wins, and a lot of this is, again, as I say, kind of noise. I think you really want to focus on the fundamentals of Apple. The stock has come down quite a bit. I think that the problem right now is you do not have a catalyst ahead in the near term. So I recognize the stock is down from 700 to 550, that kind of range. It is very interesting for the long term, but I think you're probably going to be in a trading range until you get closer to the quarter, because unfortunately the last quarter it gave food for the bears and it gave food for the bulls, so there's just too much in terms of controversy at this point.
So would you be a buyer at the 550 level if you didn't own it already?
Well, I think you want to just get closer to the quarter. That's my opinion, because I think you've got questions about supply chain issues, right? You've got issues like about cannibalization, the mini iPad and the new iPad and that kind of thing. Most importantly to me is gross margins, where they guided very much lower than where analysts were expecting. So are they typically conservative? Of course they are. And I have no doubt that they're being conservative, but I don't think you're going to convince the bears to change their mind until you actually get that number and understand what's behind a lower gross margin rate. So like it for the long term, we sold some a bit higher. We are actually holding on to a bit for the long term, because again, we do like the story. But I think there are too many question marks, at least in the near term, to get us really excited to be buying it. Let's see where the stock settles in, and then we'll take action from there.
No, this is definitely a product cycle type of stock, and like you mentioned, the bears certainly are out there screaming that there's nothing near term as far as the product goes. Are you convinced that Tim Cook has some other products up his sleeve for next year, or?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? So it's one of the reasons why the bears have had such a success is because you can kind of just pounce on Tim Cook, because there have been a couple of execution issues. So until we see it, ITV obviously is the next one that we were all waiting for. I think it's going to be harder than to sign up some of these cable companies to the whole products setup. But let's step back for a minute. This company still has a fabulous ecosystem, right? So that's your positive. That's your bullish case. And so that's why I say, should the stock pull back and maybe just stay in a trading range, maybe it gets kind of interesting into the quarter with low expectations.